Honestly, he made me feel like the coolest person ever. We went to the mall and shopped together every day. When he asked me to be his girlfriend, I was so happy. I posted a picture of us together, but he asked me to take it down because his parents would ground him for having a girlfriend. One day, he showed me a car he really wanted. He said I'd be the greatest girlfriend ever if I bought it for him. And I told him I would. I had thousands and thousands of dollars saved up, so who cared? When I got home that same day, I had a letter, but it wasn't a Sunday, so I was surprised. I was even more surprised when I opened the envelope and it was a huge letter. The letter said that Leo was cheating on me with Rebecca, one of our classmates. My mysterious money sender told me to stop my relationship with him immediately. I felt so grossed out. How long had he been following me? Was he actually watching my every move? For the first time, the reality that some dude had been watching me my whole life started to sink in. But was he right about Leo? I texted Leo to hang out the next day, but he told me he had plans. I immediately went over to Rebecca's house and sat behind a tree, just out of sight. And you know what I saw? Leo and her in the back, laying by the pool, making out. My stomach burned. I couldn't believe it. I inched closer to hear what he was talking about, and Rebecca was talking about how ugly I was. Leo laughed and agreed with her, saying he was just in it for the money. I had never been that mad before in my life. Frustrated, I stormed off and decided I needed to get revenge in the best way possible. The next morning, my suspension from school was officially up. When I pulled up to the school, I felt like a million bucks because I was pulling up the exact car that Leo wanted. He was so stoked at first, thinking it was a surprise for him, so he ran to me and asked for the key. But then I dropped the bomb on him and said, this car is a gift for myself because I tolerated you all. I'd never seen someone get that embarrassed. People were laughing at him and asking me if they could get in my car and go for a spin. And I deserved all that praise because buying the car was not easy. They were super nervous about taking all cash from a 16-year-old. And I get it, it probably looked a little sketchy, but it was my money, one way or another. Now all I had to worry about was hiding the car from my mom, or so I thought. When I came back from taking the car for a spin, there were police all over the place. They yanked me out of the car and put me in handcuffs. It felt like I was in a nightmare. I asked what this was about, and the cops told me it was for using and distributing counterfeit money. I was spiraling. The money I had been given all those years who the heck was sending me it? Were they trying to set me up? I tried to explain through tears on the way to the police station, but they weren't having it. When I finally got there, they put me in a cold, dark room and started interrogating me. I knew I couldn't keep my secret anymore. I told them about all the letters, and about how long I had been getting them. I even told them about all the things I had spent the money on. At first, they didn't seem like they believed me, but as they continued interrogating me, they realized my story hadn't changed. After 8 hours, they let me out with a plan in mind. They'd stake out the house on a Sunday, block the road, and catch the person behind this. When I walked out, my mom was standing there. She knew everything now, and she was not happy. When I told her I'd been paying our bills, she looked a bit ashamed. We didn't talk the entire ride home. When Sunday came, we both sat in the living room with the blinds open, waiting to see it all happen. I felt sick to my stomach. I was giving up someone who had changed my life, someone who had helped me so much over the years. His car pulled up, and all the police lights flashed on. I started to cry, and I bolted out of the house to see him. I needed to apologize for all of this. I tried to drive away from the cops, and the chase started. The cops had either side of the road blocked off, cars, desperate to get out. Sparks were flying everywhere. Car alarms were going off. He was even tearing up people's yards. Finally, the cops chased his car into our front yard. They pinned him against the side of the house and yanked him out. I called out to him, apologizing while the cops held me back. Then the cops ripped off his mask, and my world fell apart. I recognized the man underneath the mask. It wasn't one of my mom's ex-boyfriends. It wasn't a neighbor. It was my dad. My dad, who had died when I was 2. Now, it was him apologizing. My mom and I stood there in absolute shock while they put him in the cop car. When we found out the real story, I couldn't believe it. After I was born, my mom and dad were fighting a lot. The stress of raising a family was apparently too much for him, so he left for work one day and faked his own death by crashing a boat. He had a float to get to shore, and that's when he started a whole new life. He couldn't get a job without an ID, so he started making counterfeit money to get himself by. By the time he realized how unhappy he was and how much he missed us, he thought it was too late to come back. Instead, he watched us from a distance. He knew about my mom's issues, so he gave me the money to take care of us. He had watched every birthday, every name, every trip I had ever taken, and now he was going to jail for 20 years. Now all the money I had was gone, and I was poor again. I can lie and say I'm happier now without the money, but I'm not. And I also lost all my friends because everyone thinks my father is a mob boss. But yesterday, I received a mysterious envelope with a ton of cash inside. And to be honest, I don't know what to do.
Hello, I'm Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm probably best known for the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm going to talk to you today about a very important program.
It was another regular and beautiful Friday morning. I woke up early as usual, and I was having breakfast with my dad in the kitchen. What I didn't know yet was that this day was going to change my whole life forever. But before I start, if you want to unlock my story and discover all the crazy things that happened to me that day, make sure to hit that subscribe button and activate the bell notification. So as we were quietly enjoying our eggs benedict with my dad, we were suddenly and abruptly interrupted by big and persistent knocking sounds at our door, followed by those 4 words you generally only hear in action movies. Police! Open the door! My dad rushed to the door and opened it. 2 police officers were standing there. We are looking for Jenna Atkins. Is she living here? I was thinking, oh God, is this because I skipped high school again the other day? Damn, the principal was not playing when he told me he'd take care of my case seriously. Yes, it's me. I live here, I answered. We are sorry to inform you that your dad passed away last night. We found a letter with your name and address and a pair of keys to his apartment. We are deeply sorry for your loss, miss. Sorry, what? Pardon me, officers, but you must be mistaken, I said. My dad is right here, standing up. Actually, he is the one who just opened the door for you. I looked at my dad. He was flashing red. Is he going to die today too? I thought. Thanks a lot for letting us know, officers. Have a good day. And hurriedly closed the door. It was at this very specific moment that I knew something was wrong here. Very wrong. Sweetie, we need to talk, my dad said. Well, yes, obviously. Dad, what was that? Maybe we should wait for your mother to come back, he said. But I couldn't wait any longer. Seconds felt like hours, and I urged my dad to tell me right away what was going on. What secret were they hiding for so long? And then it happened. After almost 18 years of existence, my dad revealed to me the big secret. I was adopted. Well, that explained the blue eyes, I said coldly, probably out of the shock of the news I just had. Then I couldn't speak for hours. My whole life was completely turned upside down. All these years were just built on lies and secrets, I thought. So many questions ran through my head. Okay, so I am adopted. That's a fact now. I know who my dad is, or at least was, but who is my mother then? Speaking of mother, my now adoptive mother came back home. When she saw our faces, I swear she knew. Maybe my now adoptive dad texted her before, but anyway, she knew. So we just sat down, the 3 of us, in silence. I started asking questions, a lot of questions, but they couldn't or wouldn't give me any answers. They said they didn't know who my birth parents were because they chose to never open my adoption case, and that for them, I was their daughter and that they loved me, blah, 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 blah. Yes, sure, I get it. But what I needed back then was answers. That's the least I can ask for secrets, right? We decided to take some time off of each other so everyone could process what had just happened to our family. My parents went away for a week and I stayed home alone. I couldn't stop thinking about this, obviously. My mind was playing tricks on me and sleeping became a mission. After a few days of heavy and constant thoughts, I decided to eat and think about something else. I love cookies, so I decided to
Let's go! We won, boys! Let's go! Okay. Next one is what?
When I finally found it, I took it out, and a box fell on the ground as well. And oh boy, what I was about to find out. The box contained hundreds of letters. Letters from my father.
Okay, I'll take that.
I started reading a few of them and quickly understood that he was actually in... I went went to
voice
my
real
real
bad.
father's apartment. Since nobody wanted to tell me the truth, I had to find it out by myself. I was a little bit scared when I arrived. The place was huge and cold. Feels like somebody just died here, no? The apartment was also particularly messy. I guess I know now where I got it from, right, Dad?
Let's go.
On the ground, tons of papers and documents were scattered. I scanned the whole apartment and then went to another room that looked like an office. Tons of papers, but more importantly, I found multiple bags, wide open, with cash. Millions in cash. Again, like an action movie. I instantly thought, oh my god, was my dad a drug dealer or something? What dark business was he running? Am I the daughter of a cartel leader? Please, Lord, have mercy on me. I had enough discoveries for the week. I kept on browsing the room and then found multiple real estate documents. I didn't pay too much attention to it until I saw my name written on it. I don't know a lot about real estate, but turns out I was apparently a landlord owner with, to my knowledge back then, at least 5 apartments in town that belonged to me. And then it hit me. In many of the letters my father wrote to my parents, money was mentioned. I didn't understand at first, but now it makes more sense. My father was always asking my parents if they gave me the money he sent, and if they are keeping a bit to pay for my studies. Well, guess what? I never saw that money. Not even a dime. Here we go. Another lie to add to the list. But where did all this money go? Probably in my parents' pockets, but definitely not in mine. I was shocked. I just couldn't believe it. Especially because at that time of the year was when college applications were starting. My dream was to apply for a painting and drawing degree. My parents were totally aware of it. I talked about it for years, but they kept telling me they couldn't afford to pay for my college tuition and that I had to figure it out by myself or just let go of the idea. Instead of feeling sorry for myself, I decided to see this whole situation as an opportunity for me to seize. I took all the money bags with me and went back home. When my parents came back, I exposed them to the truth. The letters, the lies, the money, everything. They went silent, as usual. My mom finally told me that they didn't know how to handle this situation from the beginning and got tangled in lies over the years. What about the money? I asked. We wanted to keep the money for your 18th birthday, but as we got caught up with debts over the past few years, we didn't have a choice but to use it. My dad coldly answered. Do you know anything about my birth mother at least? And please don't lie to me this time, I asked one last time. They swore to me that they didn't know anything about her. But anyway, none of their words mattered to me anymore. So I just left, again. But this time, for good. I packed all my things up and moved to the other side of the country, where my drawing and painting college was. With all the money my father left me, I could afford the college tuition and even rent in a small student residence. A new life was starting for me, a new beginning. I was finally doing what I wished for so many years. Drawing and painting were my escape. And going to college really helped me cope with all the crazy things that happened to me back then. I was particularly enjoying my drawing class. And for the final exam of the semester, we had to submit a collaboration work with one of our classmates. I didn't know a lot of people there. Everyone seemed to already have friends, and I had trouble blending in. So I just picked the first classmate that was sitting next to me, a boy who also seemed as lost and confused as I was. Are you interested in joining me for the collaboration work? I asked. I don't know. Do you know how to draw well? He asked. Well, I'm here, so I guess I know how to use a pencil a bit. Okay, let's do the collaboration, he told me. Well, that's a date, I guess, I internally thought. Blending in wasn't complicated after all. We met at the library after class. The least I can say was that boy wasn't a talker. He just sat down and waited for me to talk and take the lead. Well, at least he was pretty cute, so things were definitely going to be interesting. As I was getting drawing sheets out of my bag, some of my father's real estate documents I always carried with me fell on the ground. As he was helping me gather things up, he completely froze for a minute and kept staring at the documents. Where did you get those papers? He asked me. Well, boy, you're not a talker, but you're pretty curious. Those papers are private, I told him. No, wait, how do you know this guy? The one with his name on the paper, he asked. This guy was my father. He passed away a few months ago. Why? And just when I thought all those stories were behind me, it came back. Boomerang. A whole new
What
episode
idea?
of a crazy show that was my life was about to happen.
Next one is?
Long story short, it turns out that my father was also his father. Yes, you heard me. I basically found out that I had a brother on a regular
Side.
weeknight at the library. And yes, no
Actually,
need to mention again the fact that a few moments
Side
before
is like
I
too
started
hot
to
to
have
get.
a crush on him. I need to erase this idea out of my mind right now and real quick. Like me, my brother was adopted by another family.
Bro, why
But
Scythe
unlike
again?
me,
It's
he
not
had the
supposed to be
chance meet
Scythe.
our father a couple of times before
I didn't mean to add that in there, but
helped him with all those administrative and real estate papers.
why does it keep rolling on top?
My father had told him about me so he could put my name on some of the documents. And you never wanted to find me? I asked. I did want to, I just didn't know how. You just gave me your name.
Emerald Sword, okay.
Crazy that I had to cross the whole country to finally learn that I had a brother. We talked and bonded for days after that. We had so many things to share and discover about each
Guys,
other.
the neighbor
more we talked, the more I felt like there was something wrong,
using
or at least
wood
something
slice.
that I didn't know and that he hadn't told me yet. Every time I mentioned our birth mother, who she might be, where she could be, he was evasive. He was always trying to move on to another subject. That was weird. How don't you want to know about your birth mother after all these years? One day, I was just tired of it and asked him, do you know something I don't about our mother? Do we at least have the same mother? Yes, we do, he simply answered. And after hours of trying, I finally dragged out some answers. It turns out that the only thing he knew was that our mother was living in the same city as us. Our birth mother was right here, next to us. I couldn't stop moving around. We have to go find her, I kept repeating to my brother. He wasn't as excited as I was. He was scared to find out another secret, facing another reaction. I totally get it, but I was reaching a point back then where I was like, okay, I've seen enough in the past few months. I can handle one more thing. At least this time I was in control. So I kept trying to convince him. It wasn't easy, but after a few weeks of negotiation, he finally accepted to go and try to see her. During this period of time, I also investigated a lot, and after nights of searching, I finally found our mother's address. We took a car and went to the address. She was living in one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city. I remember us staying in the car for hours, waiting to see her get out of the house before going in, just to see what she looked like. But I was getting impatient. Okay, come on, let's go. We didn't drive this far just to stay in the car and give up, I said to my brother. We knocked. As she opened the door, she stared at us for a few seconds. She knew who we were. I guess the mother instinct never fails you. Are you? She said. Yes, we are. It's us, Mom, my brother answered. She let us in and we sat down in the living room. We talked for hours. I didn't even remember all the things we said as there were so many. We finally asked, why? Why did she abandon us? Why did she abandon us? Why did she never try to find us? My father left her after I was born. When he left, he just disappeared with me and my brother under his arms. My mother was devastated. For years, she tried to find us, as the police gave up on our case after just a few months of investigation. She thought that all this time we were with my father, growing up with him by his side, and that one day we would come back. She had no idea what we went through, and that me and my brother were adopted by two different families. We were not even the best TV shows have secrets like that. After this meeting, we made a decision with my brother. First of all, we gathered all the money we got from our father and bought a house for our mother, a bigger one, and above all, in a safer and better neighborhood. We then decided to move out of the student residence to live closer to her place. We had so many years to catch up on. Finally, we could enjoy more time together, just the three of us, as a family.
TikTok's creative tools can make your content stand out. Here's how. Meet Uncle Fluffy Cafe and their creative.
We were sitting in science class, bored out of our minds, when we all heard it. It sounded like an earthquake, and one guy in our class actually dived under his desk. Then we saw it. There was a helicopter coming in to land on the soccer pitch. Some of the girls started screaming that maybe a celeb was coming to visit us, and they rushed over to the window to get a better look. I knew exactly who it was, though, and I had to get out of there quickly before he found me. He stepped out of the helicopter in a purple velvet Gucci suit with his crocodile skin shoes and gold-encrusted sunglasses. Suddenly, the girls weren't interested anymore, and my old best friend Sally started laughing and pointing at him. I was burning with shame by this point, and so I asked the teacher if I could use the bathroom, but it was too late. He was already outside the door, waving frantically. He didn't even wait for the teacher to open up. He just burst in and said, "Say bye to everyone, because you are off to a new school. But don't worry, your friends can come flying with us anytime." Honestly, I wanted to die.
Yo! Let's go!
He turned into a complete psycho, and this was only the beginning. Before I unleashed the crazy things my dad did with
44
all his
seconds.
money? Click like and subscribe on My Story Animated. And who knows, maybe you'll become a billionaire one day too. Just promise me you won't go insane like my dad. So there he was,
He's
standing
at 3
in my
minutes
class,
20 or 3
humiliating
minutes
me in
30
front of
seconds.
everyone. After I'd
Until I
done
can get
such a
my
good
emotion.
job hiding how rich he'd become, I couldn't stand him being here 1 second longer, so I grabbed my bag and basically pushed him out the door. As we left, I heard Sally saying, if her dad's so rich, how come she still dresses like she lives on the streets? My dad heard her too and turned to me and apologized for not buying me any new clothes yet. Then he said he could get me a suit to match his. I honestly couldn't think of anything worse. I told him he'd taken it too far this time. And then he told me to wait until we got home because he had a big surprise waiting for me. I looked back at the school as we climbed into the helicopter. Literally, every single person was staring at us. I'd be all over Instagram and be the laughing stock of the whole town. Don't get me wrong, at first being rich was kind of fun. We got to take all these cool vacations and Dad bought a kick-ass boat, which I was not complaining about one bit. I loved the water, but then he'd started dressing in all these ridiculous outfits and had more friends than ever before, which I was definitely suspicious about. Friends he hadn't seen for years had crawled out of the woodwork, and this was why I didn't want to how stinking rich we were. If only my dad hadn't sold his company and become a billionaire. In the helicopter, my dad was so excited, but I just sat there with my head in my hands. My phone kept beeping as people posted about me on Instagram.
You can finally
And then my
fight.
boyfriend texted me saying, you told me your dad was rich, but I didn't know he was this rich. I was getting so many friend requests. I thought my phone was going to blow up. This was exactly what I didn't want. And now my dad had ruined everything. When we got home, I headed straight for my room. But my dad ran after me and asked, didn't I want to see the surprise? No, Dad, I really didn't. Gosh, why couldn't he just leave me alone? He took me by
Chill,
the hand
man.
and dragged me
Well,
around
guys,
to the pool.
try hiding so
You will
much.
not believe what was in it. An actual car in the pool. My
Think
dad
of
was
this.
laughing
Nah.
and said he bought it especially for me. A submarine sports car. Because I loved the ocean so much, he thought this would be perfect for me. My own personal submarine. I could see him waiting for me to respond, so I just smiled. But all I could think was how crazy he'd become. I couldn't even drive. This was next level ridiculous. What would he buy next? Then as I walked away after muttering thanks, he came close to me and said it was an early birthday present. But my real present was the epic party he had planned for me. What party? I asked him. Then he just winked at me and said he'd already invited the whole school. That it would be the biggest and best party anyone had ever been to. And there would be even more surprises. No! I couldn't handle this. I didn't even like half the people at my school. In fact, I was a bit of a loner, and I liked it that way. I'd been planning to just hang out with my boyfriend on my birthday. Well, hopefully no one would come now that they'd seen how crazy my dad was. But then, my dad told me he'd hired someone to send gifts to every single person to invite them. And when I asked what he was talking about, he said he'd send everyone a new personalized cell phone and stuck the invite inside the box. He said they'd probably receive them later that evening. I almost screamed. Those
What the
people didn't
fudge?
deserve a free phone.